Hello, boys and hello, girls. You are now listening, if you're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Podbean, and watching, if you're on YouTube, episode 52. Again, that is episode 52 of Peter Talks SmackDown. I emphasize fucking 52 because as I'm looking to be sure that I'm correct with my count, episode count, I just realized next week is going to be an entire year of me doing Peter Talks SmackDown, and it just sort of dawned on me like, holy fuck, ain't that a bitch? It's hard to believe I've been doing this for a year now, but I'm not celebrating now. I got to make it to next week, you know what I'm saying? But next week, episode 53, will mark 1 year on the fucking money that I've been doing this podcast. Again, we hit episode 80 for Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, so I'm flabbergasted, but I'm also quite happy that I'm able to make it this far. Again, next week is the anniversary. I'm pretty stoked about it. But yes, an exciting week, to say the least, for the world of professional wrestling. Mostly the WWE, with the return of Shane O'Mac. Shane McMahon. Man. That's been the talk of the week. I think they're going to be talking about that for quite some time. I mean, the thing about Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling is that we get the rush. We can't, even though the podcast is pretty long, sometimes I forget to mention things because Jake, he likes to take on the persona of host when he's not, and he tries to run it, and I'm like, well, you know, whatever. But what happens is he'll speed through things, and I can't really talk about it as much until we're rushing through something, and I'll skip some things. But what I wanted to say, I think the last thing I wanted to say is the significance of the return of Shane. And maybe I mentioned it, but I wanted to make it clear on this one, so it's just me. But the excitement of Shane McMahon and not a wrestler, because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, like The Rock return or Stone Cold return or Shawn Michaels return. It's like the two things that was great about this return, and then I'll go into the SmackDown review, is the fact that this, again, the dirt sheets and all these things, you know, like Meltzer and all that stuff, and maybe he knew and he held back, you know, he put out like a cryptic, said, you know, the person that will be facing Undertaker will not be a guy on the roster. And normally we are on these things. We'll find out something, but whoever the hell slid this guy through the fucking cracks for us not to know that he was going to be returning is a fucking deserves a slammy. He deserves a fucking Nobel Prize for sliding that through our grubby little fingers. We know everything. We didn't know this, so boom. And the significance is, again, the guy is the heir apparent. It's not Triple H. It's not Stephanie McMahon. It's Shane O'Mac. He is the heir apparent to the McMahon wrestling fucking business. And for him and what we've known of him, and like, okay, wrestler there, he's a decent wrestler. As a worker, he did what he had to do. He sacrificed his body. But he was also creative. And the guy has his thumb on a lot of things, a lot of forward-moving things. A lot of the reason why he left is because Vince was knocking down so many ideas that sort of broaden the horizons of the WWE, right? With Triple H and what he's doing with NXT, Vince McMahon is allowing the things that Shane McMahon 7, 8, 10 years ago was suggesting. So the excitement And that fucking overwhelming pop, not only from the crowd that was in Detroit, but say the people and the excitement of the people of the return, let alone, is that we know we're in for a creative boost, maybe. I mean, depending on how they go about this storyline. I said in Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling episode 80 that I don't see Shane McMahon staying. And that depresses me a little bit. I see him coming on because with all the injuries, all hands on deck when dealing with this WrestleMania 32 card. Got all these injuries. John Cena, as for now, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, those 4 names in themselves are pretty serious losses to the company. So now it's like the bells and the whistles are how we're going to make this 32 a fucking amazing event. And I tell you what, if there was ever a storyline that needed to be implemented, is something in dealing with the power struggle of the McMahons, dealing with Shane O'Mac. And again, it depresses me that I think he's not going to stick around till after WrestleMania. Like whatever he wants to do with Raw, get control of Raw. I hope, as a wrestling fan, I hope that he wins and he sticks around and he basically moves the company forward. And I guess whatever storyline with the McMahons still in power and him as the heir apparent and Triple H and what they're doing with NXT, they could just have their own little sort of Genoa City thing going on there. For anyone who doesn't understand that term, Genoa City, it's the name of the city that Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful is based around. And it's just family turmoil inside for the control of the company. And I don't want that forever. They're going to have to be on the same card at some point, on the same, wave of thinking at some point. But I just want Vince McMahon, Shane to stick around just for selfish, creative purposes. I think he'll do a wonderful job moving this company faster forward in a way that it needs to be, to clear out whatever creative and all this fucking crap that they're doing to not create superstars. These 3-ways and all that shit, the matching up and all this crap. I mean, we're not getting any superstars, man. The people who should be fucking on top aren't. They're kicking out all this cash. You look at a $1.4 million for Alberto Del Rio to be part of like the League of Nations and not have any storyline connected to him. It's just madness. Shane will clean that up. He's a number cruncher. I feel like he will be able to step in and do any and everything to get his money's worth out of all the workers that are on the roster without fear of them leaving. Wade Barrett's leaving because he's being misutilized. It's like you don't want to force him out the fucking door, right? It's like the opposite way around. You fucking don't want them to become too big so they won't leave, but it's you're not making them big enough for them to stay. And yeah, like Nakamura, Shinsuke Nakamura, look at AJ Styles, you look at, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, and you look at all the other indie talent that's coming in, and I go, man, oh man, I really hope by the time that all these young kids reach their prime, or say the superstars that are there now, that Vince McMahon won't be there to take the reins within the next, 2 to 3 years of these new guys' existence. Let Shane O'Mac and let Triple H step in and make these guys into megastars. And with that said, let's go into SmackDown. They did it again, by the way. They didn't say where they were this week. And I'm sick and fucking tired of that. I didn't even know that they were in Indianapolis until the New Day came on. It was like, oh, Indy. I'm like, fuck, well, thank you. Why the fuck won't they say they're in Indianapolis? Perhaps they weren't at the fucking Conseco House. Maybe they're in another stadium, but nevertheless, man, like, stop with that fucking not telling where the thing is. And it starts off with a fast lane recap of Roman Reigns winning the triple threat to face Triple H at WrestleMania. And what threw me off here is that revisionist history is when they showed him winning, the crowd was cheering. Oh, God. The crowd is cheering in this recording that they have of the recap. And I'm like, no, WWE. That was not the case. It was a room full of boos. But, like, who the hell is going to fucking pump in, you know, the live boos to make their company look good? So I understand, but I still thought that was a little shady. And the return of Ronaldo, which I still think is bullshit. He should have been there last week to call Brock Lesnar being there. And I'm just going to put this out there. The last 2 weeks I've mentioned this, in that WWE SmackDown, since joining the USA, is losing its distinctive air that it is SmackDown. Right? People are talking brand splits and shit right now. I don't know. Who cares about a brand split? Just as long as these guys become stars. Who gives a fuck? Oh, yeah, the brand split, the SmackDown guys, here's the Raw guys. Who gives a fuck? I don't. Honestly, I really don't. Because I imagine that if there was a brand split, that a lot of the guys, especially like the guys that aren't on this level of Cena and Orton and all that shit, they would want to be on SmackDown. I mean, obviously, you want to be on the bigger show, but SmackDown will allow those guys to grow, right? They'll allow them motherfuckers to grow. So who cares about a brand split? I don't. I swear to you, I do not give a shit if I don't see a guy on Raw that I would see on SmackDown. But with that said, SmackDown isn't SmackDown anymore. It's basically Raw Part 2. The only thing that's different between Raw and SmackDown is the color. You know, Raw, its theme is red. And SmackDown, its theme is blue. But the content over the past 2-3 weeks have been Raw, like basically an extended Raw. And this week you had Triple H coming out. Last week we had Brock Lesnar showing up. And I think that's great. I mean, one of the things I was saying is that in order for SmackDown to be taken seriously moving forward, it definitely has to have the weight and the guys from Raw, brand split or not, I don't care. Just because there's a brand split doesn't mean a Raw person can't show up to SmackDown and vice versa. So Brock Lesnar was last week. This week you got Triple fucking H cutting a promo. That's big. That's huge. Right? I like to think so. And even the plot of the fucking show, the entire show, it ran like a Monday Night Raw. Way more storyline. Way more storyline based that's connected to Raw. So I don't know if I have a problem with that. Again, I don't give a shit about a brand split. If they do it, great. If they don't, who cares? But I do like to think that SmackDown has its own identity. And I think moving forward on USA that it won't. So anyone screaming brand split, I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't. But you know what? If you bring some big names over, make it a big deal, and actually announce where the fuck you are, and then make it live at least once a month. Like next week should be live. Right? Just for shits and giggles, right? But Triple H shows up, and he's basing his promo around the Rolling Stones song Sympathy for the Devil, which are great lyrics. And Triple H on SmackDown, again, it's pretty amazing. But then this was like a really amazing promo. I mean, like an amazing promo talking about, basically shooting on Roman Reigns, what he did to him in terms of retribution to what happened to him weeks ago, months ago, before the Royal Rumble, and when Roman Reigns attacked Triple H, that this was retribution. And then they showed the face of Roman Reigns all busted up, like basically the after effects of Monday Night's beatdown, and his promo talking about, as the authority, like, people, the real life is basically bowing yourself, humbling yourself, knowing your place, and going along with the authority, right? You don't fight authority. You don't fight the power. Because every day you wake up, you go to work, you do things that you don't have to do, but you have to do it. You want to fight, you want to speak out, but you just bow your head, know your role, and shut your mouth, basically. And this is what this promo was about. And you can't buck the system. You want to buck up to the system so bad, but you can't. You don't. And that's what Roman Reigns is. He thinks he's a big guy. He thinks he can just buck up. And he thinks he can just defy the authority. No, he can't defy the authority. And look at him. He's a humble man. He's a man put in his place. And he talks about the blood, sweat, and the tears, which I thought was the only thing that was kind of off a little bit, because he goes, the sweat part about how Roman Reigns works really hard. And he's like, well, Monday is the blood part. And it was like he pulled out like a bloody rag out of his fucking coat, And I'm like, ew, that's fucked up. That doesn't look like a bloody rag. That looks like anything but a bloody rag from Monday Night. That looks like other types of bloody fucking rags, okay? Like, that was disgusting, Triple H. And he pulls it out, and he throws it on the ground, and they kept showing. I was like, ew, gross. Gross. I wasn't impressed by that at all. And something that definitely caught me off guard is that Triple H was able to get through an entire fucking 12-minute promo without a single what chant. I guess the marks didn't make it out to the Thursday night taping, Tuesday night taping of Thursday Night SmackDown. And I was so relieved that he didn't get a what chant. I mean, Vince McMahon got a fucking what chant, but he didn't. So I thought that was great. I only hope when, The Undertaker comes back Monday, he doesn't get what chance. And I say there's one more thing about Triple H, and then I'll run through the card because I'm already 17 minutes in, and I'm only at the opening segment. Is that, again, when Triple H with that belt, and the way he put that thing on there, I said it in a previous Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, is that it doesn't come off as he is the WWE champion. It doesn't come off at all that he's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It's almost as if the belt is in abeyance. It's almost as if the authority owns the belt and not Triple H is the champion. Because anybody can sit back and say, can attest to the idea that does Triple H really need to be the WWE Heavyweight Champion? There's no one. I mean, you can lie to yourself all you want, but there's no way to get me to believe that you think the WWE belt needs to be on Triple H. The WWE belt needs to be somewhere. But when you look at this roster, it's a work, Triple H with the belt is a work. Because there's nobody on that roster worth giving it to once you think about it. And you can go down the fucking list. Brock Lesnar, the only one that deserves it, but his work schedule doesn't allow him to hold that belt and be seen. Like a seen wrestler. Seth Rollins had the belt. He's hurt. Randy Orton. Do you really want to see Randy Orton with the belt? Do you really want to see John Cena with another fucking belt? But they're injured. But anyone in this roster right now, if you could point out one guy outside of, say, Roman Reigns or even Dean Ambrose, who I think don't deserve the belt at all either, it's like, who else? Triple H. Okay, hey, you know what? Fuck all y'all. the belt is back in the hands of the Authority and not necessarily Triple H. And yeah, I mean the storyline is that Triple H is going to put over Roman Reigns. And then Reigns is going to get this belt at WrestleMania, making him a three-time World Heavyweight Champion in a matter of 3 months. Some crazy shit, ain't it? Crazy shit. The first match we get is the Lucha Dragons with Neville and Ziggler versus the League of Nations with their new finger-swinging gimmick. I wonder what the fuck back in Creative and back in Gorilla was like, hey, you know what? Get out there and continuously swing your goddamn finger. Now, Del Rio already did this whenever he put on the gets on the arm breaker. He always does that. But, like, everybody's doing it. Rusev swinging his finger. Wade Barrett swinging his finger. Fucking Sheamus is swinging his fucking finger. And I'm like, okay, that's the new gimmick for you guys? Swinging your fucking finger around in a circle? Oh, Creative, you guys are stupid. Because I could just imagine, yeah, swing your finger. Just keep swinging your finger. Well, anyway, what caught me off guard is that when they got in, Wade Barrett goes in, because I'm thinking, okay, this is another 3-on-4, basically. But Wade Barrett gets into the ring, and he fucking takes a bump. And I'm like, oh, shit, Wade Barrett's back. Even though he's on the way out the fucking door, I guess whatever he's been dealing with, he's now in a situation where he can take a bump. And he took some bumps. He took some hella bumps today, even from the beginning. And Wade gets in there and immediately is out of control. The heels, basically, that are standing tall right at the very beginning. But then the match itself is what it is. And I do appreciate the League of Nations. Every time I see them, I feel more and more bad for them. Where they're coming off to me as more baby faces because of the situation that they're in at the status that they are. Sheamus, Rusev, fucking ADR, Wade Barrett. Guys that I actually feel for. Those guys, with all the injuries going on, they should have already built these guys up within the years that they've been here to make them into to complete fucking superstars. You look at Rusev, who had his match against John Cena last year around this time. He came out in a fucking tank. He looked awesome. But they dropped the ball in his ass the follow-up year. And now look at him. Del Rio, Sheamus. That whole Sheamus run with the belt and the fucking Money in the Bank was just a waste of everyone's time. And it's a shame. It's a shame, the fame. You look at Wade Barrett. We ain't going into Wade Barrett. But you get my point. I really appreciate these guys. But you look at this fucking match, and they've actually been on a winning streak, other than the fact that ADR lost to Kalisto for the U.S. belt. But the group themselves have been booked strong as a unit, and for fucking good reason. So Neville gets the hot tag, and he runs wild. And man, oh man, does he run fucking wild. There's a spot where he gets Wade Barrett on his ass, right? Then he climbs up on the fucking top fucking buckle, right? Looks like he's about to hit the red arrow. Call it a night. Sheamus comes running at him. He jumps over Sheamus off the top buckle, does a 450 fucking splash. Incredible. On Wade Barrett. He took that shit like a champ. Then he gets the fuck back up. Wait. All right. Lucha Dragons, they lay waste to Rusev. They jump on Rusev outside. First it's Kalisto. He catches Kalisto. Then Sin Cara jumps, knocks him out. Then you get a red arrow. He pulls a 450, then a red arrow, like twice within a minute. My Lord, if I was in that build, I would have been losing it. He gets kicked in the face by Del Rio. Super kicked. Del Rio gets super kicked by Ziggler. And then a bro kick is handed to Neville, giving the victory to the League of Nations. I will no longer call them the League of Jobbers. I will no longer call them the League of Suckers. They're the League of Nations. I'm not a fan to this fucking twirly shit. Will they face the New Day moving forward? It looks like they had something else planned, but man, oh man. What are you going to do with these guys? WrestleMania is right around the corner. You got fucking 5 weeks, man. 5 weeks. Do something with these fucking guys, man. Figure it out, WWE. Figure it out. Who you're going to be facing. It looks like you thought it was going to be the New Day, but looks like they got other plans for that. And as for that U.S. belt, apparently word is that's going to be a ladder match. A WWE ladder match. What they're going to do with the Lucha Dragons as a tag team, we still don't know what the hell that's all about. And then Ziggler is just Ziggler. Fuck that guy. Owens is in the back with Renee Young, and he's giving an announcement. This is something that happened, I guess, on .com or on the YouTube page, is that like he felt inspired by the performance of the typical heel shit. He felt inspired by the by the performance last week of Dean Ambrose taking an ass whooping from Brock Lesnar and then driving back to face him again, and then to actually offer the challenge to WrestleMania, and that he felt inspired by his performance to actually give him a rematch for his IC belt. And Renee Young's like, look, he ain't here. Oh, he's not here? I guess I get a day off. And then the Big Show shows up and challenges him. Not necessarily challenges him. He just kind of steps up and he grabs him, and Kevin Owens makes a comment like, we're on the road to Owens Mania, something like that, and you're on the road to retirement, which is that way. Ooh, I thought that was pretty funny. Big Show hems him up, grabs him by the collar. He can't escape the clutches of the Big Show's hand, and he goes, look, you little smart ass, I actually have a match with you tonight. You know, get ready. And we get the next match, which is Devon of the Dudley Boys, accompanied by Bubba. And then you have Jimmy Uso, accompanied by his brother Jay. We get a one-on-one match. And the Dudley Boys are the best promo cutters on the roster. I'm starting to like their heel run. At first, I didn't care. It's not that I still don't care, but it's like they're doing stuff with them. They're allowing them to talk, and their heel fucking promos are great. I love it. I absolutely love it. I thought they were going to sort of align with Paul Heyman, but that's not the case. That kind of sucks. I hope it's still not over yet. I hope they realign. It's not like they need it's not like they need Paul Heyman to cut the promos for them, because they can cut their own fucking promos. But just to have that alliance there would be very, very, very entertaining, and to be able to sort of run shot in the tag team division and actually do something. Maybe, I'll eat crow. I'll take everything back. I'll care. But give me a reason to care, WWE, about these Dudley Boys. And so far, so good. And he reminds the crowd that, look, I'm just telling you, fuck you and fuck these tables. Every time you want these tables, no more tables. And then at the end, Bubba Ray cuts the last part of the promo. He's like, you could take your table and you could take your chance and you could shove it. I don't know. I just thought that was really good. But this is a short match. And it seems that Jimmy is about to make real quick work of Devon. But then you have Bubba Ray getting up on the apron, which brings out Jay to get on the apron. The ref is distracted by Jay. Jimmy's on the fucking top rope. And with that distraction that Jay has given to the ref, Bubba hits the ropes, which causes Jimmy to fall off of the top buckle, which leads to a roll-up by Devon, giving them the victory. And all I could think to myself is, what is Devon's finisher? I don't remember. I'm going to have to look it up. But for him to have that wide open spot to just put a finisher on him, to resort to rolling him up for the victory, I just go like, yeah, does he have a finisher? It'd been cool when he hit a finisher. But yeah, this builds more of the tension between the Dudley Boys and the Usos moving forward to WrestleMania. Do we get a tag team match at Mania with these two? I don't know. Sometimes I'm lost in the shuffle. Right now we have Undertaker versus Shane McMahon. We have Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar in a street fight. We have Triple H and Roman Reigns. And then Charlotte is defending her belt for sure, for sure against either Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks. That's all we know for now. So I don't know the rest of the card moving forward to WrestleMania, but they need at least 5, 6 more matches. And if we're going to get a bunch of tag team, I guess we'll get 2 tag teams. I guess it'll be the New Day. And then it's AJ Styles and Chris Jericho. And then we'll have this, Dudley Boys versus the Usos at WrestleMania. I feel like they'll put that shit on Raw before they get to WrestleMania. And then what you're going to do with the League of Nations. But, again, everything's up in the air. Just let it play out. We get the Shane McMahon recap. I already talked about that. We get Y2J in an Usos shirt in the back. He finally has a shirt on. It's an Usos shirt, which I find pretty weird. With AJ Styles backstage, and they're homies. They are Y2AJ. They could do better than that. They could do better than that. That sounds like a women's tag team name. Like I don't like it. I'm just gonna call them Styles and Jericho. That's what I'm gonna call them. Okay, Styles and Jericho. And if you're saying Y2AJ, if you're saying that, stop. Just nip it in the bud. Call it a fucking break. Call it a wrap. Just call them Styles and Jericho. All right. That's all that needs to be said about that. But they're like, what? Fuck it. We're a tag team. They both agreed in the back that they're a tag team and that they both want a WrestleMania moment. AJ wants his first ever WrestleMania moment, and Y2J and this buddy system is saying like, well, look, it's not like you're gonna get like a singles push right now. This is a straight shoot. You're not gonna get a singles push, but if we tag up and we beat the New Day, by the way, the New Day offered a match 3-on-3. You got that, and Styles and Jericho will have to pick a third partner. So they're like, well, look, their game plan in the back is like maybe we can beat them tonight. We can actually face them at WrestleMania for the belt, but we need a third partner. And up steps Mark Henry, and I get a big old smile on my face, and he squeezes the shit out of Jericho's hands, and bucks up like, don't be playing with me like the New Day be playing. And then AJ, then he smacks AJ on the fucking chest like, see you out there, kid. And they're both basically reeling after Mark Henry basically bestowed his blessing, AJ's like, does he normally hit that hard? And Jericho's like, yeah. I really enjoyed it. You get the Big Show versus Kevin Owens. Surprisingly good match. And but it ends with Big Show. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. He climbs to the top rope, to the top buckle, and he gets stopped by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens looked like he's about to fucking do a suplex. Lord forbid they try to do that shit again. But Owens slips down, hits the ropes. Right in the junk does Big Big Show falls on the rope, and then he falls out, and then he loses to a 10 count. Kevin Owens get the victory. I would like to see a longer version of this. You look at Kevin Owens against a plethora of people. I would have not imagined that a Big Show Kevin Owens feud would be something I would actually be excited about. Just from that one taste of a match, that was actually pretty good. Pretty good. Natalya versus Becky Lynch, which ends abruptly. I mean, they don't even. I think the match itself only lasts less than 3 minutes, and that's when Naomi. Oh my God, what was she wearing? Oh my God, she's so hot. Naomi, my God. Fucking Jimmy Uso, man, you lucky bastard, man. You're babyface, but in my fucking humble opinion, you are heel. You are a heel. Owning that, all of that is Naomi. Oh my God, I could just stare at her all day. Well, anyway, back to the match. Naomi and Tamina show up. Naomi punched the shit out of fucking Natalya, and then Natalya kicks the shit out of fucking Natalya. Then she disappears, right? No more Natalya. They go in to try to get Becky Lynch. Sasha Banks runs out for the save and they clear house. See you later, Tamina. See you later, Naomi. Charlotte Flair steps out and just says, okay, last Monday I told you I was going to be facing one of you at a number one contender. One of you two will be a number one contender to my belt at WrestleMania. Right? But the number one contender match will be this Monday. So, go ahead and get the number one contender. If there is a number one contender, maybe it's going to be a duel. Everyone's saying make it a triple threat. I'm like, nah. I would much rather see a one-on-one match with the Divas. And if they're going to give the rub to Sasha Banks to be like the next big thing, so be it. Or if they're going to give the rub to Charlotte to be the next big female heel, so be it. But man, a triple threat, I'm sick of it in general. But at the same time, you want these girls to have legs, which I doubt. I mean, we've talked about this before. You watch the show. Just make it a one-on-one match and follow through this. But I know it's going to be some weird thing where it's going to be a triple threat. It's going to be a triple threat. Heath Slater, accompanied by the Social Outcast, faces R-Truth, who only rapped some of his intro. Goldust shows up, and he's like, look, dude, I'm just going to hang out in neutral corner, what have you. Golden Shoot, while they're discussing, like, what the fuck, get out of here. Golden Truth chants are through the arena. Golden Truth, Golden Truth. I guess they're about to be over, I guess these weeks of them trying to make the thing, people are like, hey, come on, R-Truth, Golden Truth, let's do it. But what is to become of it? I think once they become a tag team, then what? I think the story of them becoming a tag team versus them being a tag team are going to be two different worlds. You're not going to make these guys interesting, or you're not going to build a feud between the two. Like, just move this along. But this is a short match as well. R-Truth tries to get, the Social Outcasts try to earn their money. They try to distract the referee, but then Goldust uses the distraction from the Social Outcasts to smack Heath Slater and to help R-Truth with the backslide victory. And Goldust celebrates because last week he actually caused the loss for Raw. He caused the loss. Now he aided. R-Truth is inside smiling. R-Truth is outside celebrating over some heel type shit, by the way. I mean, that was very heelish. So I don't see it as much to be pretty excited about as in terms of helping. I mean, are they going to be heels? These fucking dirty tactics. They recapped Brock and Dean. And then we get to our main event, which is the New Day versus AJ, Jericho, and Mark Henry. And the only thing that stands out, and I saw like a spoiler meme, not necessarily a spoiler, but I saw a photo of AJ Styles, Mark Henry, and Chris Jericho. It was just, they looked like they were dancing. I was like, oh my God. Ugh. But then it happened. They clear out the fucking New Day, and then all of a sudden you see AJ Styles doing the stanky leg. You see Mark Henry shaking his big ass, and you got Jericho doing something. I imagine AJ Styles is having a lot of fun. I'll leave it at that. They're having fun. They're having a lot of fucking fun, okay? I'll run with that. Styles gets a fucking hot tag, and he runs wild. It was pretty fucking awesome. Forearm shots and flying everywhere. Then there's a moment where chaos ensues. You know, there's madness everywhere. This was after the hot tag. And AJ Styles is wide open to catch a fucking Trouble in Paradise from Kofi Kingston. Jericho pushes him out the way and takes that fucking Trouble in Paradise like a champion. And Ronaldo, he makes it known, King makes it known, Byron Saxton make it known that, man, Jericho just sacrificed himself to take that fucking shot for AJ. AJ, man, this is actually, you know, it's getting interesting between these two. But again, I think it's like reel him in. I'll even sacrifice my body just to get closer, leave him vulnerable. AJ, I think this is about to become a compelling fucking story. Again, I'm not a big fan of AJ Styles teaming up, but just like in the shoot in the back that Jericho said, like, hey, dude, a singles match, you want your fucking WrestleMania moment, you're going to have to tag up and that opportunity to win the tag team belts with me, right? And it makes sense. You're using AJ Styles at a capacity that I think works. He's with Y2J, a legend, and it seems that the storyline is moving ahead. I'm just waiting for it. When it happens, you know, I'll probably get upset. I'll probably get upset at Y2J. And if this is how they're going to get AJ Styles over, so be it. I'm all for it. And after basically getting thrown out of the way of catching a Trouble in Paradise and finally getting Xavier Wood on his own, he puts him in the calf crusher, and AJ Styles, Jericho, and Henry win the match. And that basically is the end of SmackDown. I'm already 42 minutes in. I'd like to thank you so much for, and I guess, what do you do with the New Day? Again, are they going to face Styles and Jericho? Will they face the League of Nations moving forward? Because, again, you remember at Fastlane, they were clowning them. But it looks like that's out of the picture. I think moving forward, the New Day will be feuding with Styles, and unless it turns into a triple threat with the League of Nations. Oh, God. Never mind. It makes my head hurt. Thank you so much for listening to episode 52 and watching episode 52 of the Peter Talks SmackDown. And it's 52, but I'm going to say next week is going to be the year anniversary. I'm just going to say it's going to be a year anniversary. Again, keep coming back. The shows that I have is Peter's Raw Recap, which I did live, but I fucked up. I'm going to try it again live next week, because again, it's a YouTube only recording. It's not on the other mediums, Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, and SoundCloud. It's not on those. It's just basically a recap. You have the New Day podcast. I wasn't able to get to it this week because my fucking electricity was off. But we will be back Monday. So Monday is, again, the New Day podcast with Nathan Newman. You got Peter's Raw Recap, YouTube only. Peter Talk Sports, it'll come back at some point. Sports is dead, whatever. For now, at least, until the NBA playoffs rolls around. You get Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. That's every Wednesday. Again, we just had episode 80. So if you haven't listened to it yet, go back, check it out. And then you have this, Peter Talks SmackDown. And next week will be a year. So hit the subscription button below. If you're listening on those other mediums, add this to your favorites. Add this to your playlist. You can find me on the social medias under PJTW Central. That's a Twitter account. But then there's also Ellen Japanese, LINJAPANESE. That's Instagram. That's Snapchat. That's the SoundCloud page, and also the Twitter. You can either hit me there or leave a comment below. You can also hit the thumbs up button, the like button. Hell, you can even hit the thumbs down button. It doesn't matter. I just want to hear. I just want to see your responses to this podcast. And then the most important thing is to share. Sharing is caring. Hit that little loop button. Share, share, share. Put it on your Facebooks. Put it on your Instagrams. Put it on your Tumblrs. Put it on your Pinterest. Put it on your Snapchats, man. Do any and everything, man. Like, I'll definitely appreciate it because this is a labor of love. I make no money off of this. And I spend a lot of time doing it. So any assistance from you guys is definitely welcome. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay cool and stay warm. And stay safe. And watch out for those foreign objects. I will see you Monday for Peter. Well, you'll hear from me for the New Day podcast, me and Nathan Newman, and then Peter's Raw recap, and hopefully the entire live recap will be up. So yes, again, watch out for foreign objects.